Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Julie Reynolds, aka Nurse Jar. Welcome to my nurse aid and soon to be CNA Level 2 and nursing training YouTube channel. Guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Click the like button on this video and any other videos that I have created and uploaded that have been helpful to you. Also, clicking that like button will help my videos, my YouTube channel, become more recognizable here on YouTube and also in Google search, okay? And if you want to be notified whenever I upload new content, go ahead and ring that notification bell, okay? So this is a special request video from one of my subscribers who is a Credentia instructor. So I'm doing an upgraded, okay, or updated perineal care training video, okay? So one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the supplies for Credentia and Pearson View are going to be located on a centralized table somewhere in the skills testing room, okay? When I'm doing my videos, you're going to see that my supplies I have located at the bedside. That's because I have my classroom lab set up for Prometric, okay? So we're gonna take this step by step, all right? And it's gonna be easy for you all if you're in the classroom to actually follow along with me, okay? Actually perform the skill while I am also performing the skill, okay? So let's go ahead and get started, all right? Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is knock on the door and wait for a response. Now, this skill is performed on a mannequin, and the nurse aid evaluator should speak for the mannequin. If they do not, go ahead and knock again, and if they still have not responded, just go ahead and enter the patient's room, okay? Hi, good morning, Mrs. Jones. How are you? Awesome. My name is Julie. I'm your CNA, and today I'll be providing you with PERI-CARE, okay? All right, Mrs. Jones, first, I just want to make sure your bed is in a low, safe position, and it is. Your bed wheels are locked. I'm going to go ahead and give you your call light. There we go. And I'm going to provide you with privacy by closing your privacy screen. Before I go wash my hands and gather my supplies, is there anything I can do for you? All right, Mrs. Jones, I'll be right back, okay? All right, guys, so Credentia and Prometric do not require a clean barrier over the overbed table, okay? And again, your supplies will be located on a table, a centralized table somewhere in the room, okay? When you re-enter or before you re-enter the person's room, you know, after gathering your supplies, you will have to re-knock, okay? Knock on the door unless the supplies are situated close by the bedside and you're really not leaving out of the room, if that makes any sense, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and gather my supplies. All right, so I actually have my supplies here at the bedside. The easiest way for you to gather your supplies would be to collect the bath basin first, okay? So I'm gonna collect the bath basin, okay, or wash basin. Let's see, we got some soap, 4 washcloths, 1 towel, a linen protector, and one pair of gloves. And I'm using a Chucks as the linen protector, but you can also use a towel or a waterproof pad, okay? And so now I'm just gonna move the camera so y'all can see how I'm setting up my supplies on the table, okay? So it's really good if you're able to set up your supplies in the order in which you're going to have to use them. This will help cue you or give you a hint as to what step comes next, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and place my basin, then my pair of gloves, then my Chucks pad, and the Chucks pad is what I'm using as a linen protector. I'm going to place, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, 2 washcloths, a towel, and then my other 2 washcloths, okay, and the soap. So the first washcloth I'm going to use to wash the peri area. The second washcloth I'm going to use to rinse. The towel I'm going to use to dry the front peri area. And then the third washcloth I'm going to use to wash the buttocks and anal area. And the fourth washcloth is going to be used to rinse the buttocks and anal area. And then the same towel that I use to dry the peri area or the genitals, I'm also going to use to dry the buttocks and anal area, okay? So this is how I have my supplies set up in the exact order in which I know I'm going to have to use them. Again, that will help you to remember what step comes next, okay? So once you re-enter the room, you'll let Mrs. Jones know that you have all your supplies and that you're going to go fill the basin with water, okay? So here we go. I'm gonna leave the camera here while I'm filling the basin with water. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I just want to show you how much water I have in the basin. It's really not a lot. I have it just halfway between the bottom of the basin and the number 2 line, okay? The reason why I don't put a lot of water in here is, one, you really don't need a lot of water when it comes to perineal care or catheter care, and 2, you don't want it to be top heavy, okay? So before I re-enter the room, I'm going to knock on the door, wait for a response to come in. Again, the NAE should speak for the mannequin, okay? Now, you can test the water while you're filling the basin at the sink, or you can wait till you get back to the bedside. It's really, really important that you test the water first, and then you have the resident to test it. You can test with the finger, you can test with your wrist, you can test with your elbow. If you've already placed your gloves, you can also test with the gloved hand or finger, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and test the water. It feels good to me. And verbalize everything that you're doing. Hi, Mrs. Jones. I have the basin with water. I've already tested it. It feels good to me. Now I would like for you to test it to make sure it's a comfortable temperature for you. At this time, you'll just place the basin next to the mannequin's hand. And then again, the NAE will speak for the mannequin, or they should. If they don't, all you have to do is, like respond as if the resident tested it, okay? It feels good? Awesome. All right. So I'm just going to turn the camera. I'm sorry, guys, but I do not have a videographer. So I'm doing this all by myself. So I'm going to tilt it down here so y'all can see a little bit better, hopefully, okay? All right. Okay, so the next item that I have on my table is a pair of gloves. But before I put on my pair of gloves, for credentia in Pearson view, you have to raise the side rail in which you're going to turn the person, okay? So before I get started, I'm going to go ahead on the other side of the bed and raise the side rail. Mrs. Jones, I'm just going to raise the side rail on the opposite side of your bed, okay? Here we go. All right. There we go. Now, credentia and prometric do not emphasize the use of body mechanics, meaning you're not going to be observed and scored on whether or not you raise the level of the bed to a comfortable working position for yourself. But guys, you want to use common sense, right? Because you don't want to hurt yourself during testing. So if you're like really tall, go ahead and raise the bed to a comfortable working height for yourself, okay? Excuse me, guys. Just make sure you lower it back down to a low safe position before you say skill complete. Also, the lowering of the side rail is not evaluated and scored as well, okay? So depending on what your next skill is, if you have this skill and you have a skill afterwards, you can either let the side rail remain up or you can put it down, okay? So, Mrs. Jones, I'm just going to raise the level of the bed to a comfortable working height for myself. Again, Pearson view and credentia does not emphasize the use of body mechanics, okay? But like I said just a few seconds ago, you want to use your common sense, okay? If you're really tall, you know, you do not want to strain your back muscles or your leg muscles. All right. Okay, Mrs. Jones. So now what I'm going to do, I have my gloves next. I'm going to go ahead and don my gloves. I'm going to lower Mrs. Jones's top sheet down to her knees. If you lower it below her knees, you're not going to get credit for the step. They consider that overexposing the resident, okay? So I just have it to her knees. Then I'm going to raise her gown to her hips, okay, like so. Awesome. Okay, guys, there we go. All right. Now the next thing that I'm going to do, just going to move this strap. The next thing that I have on my overbed table is a chucks pad. Again, for a linen protector, you can use a chucks pad, you can use a towel, or you can use a waterproof pad. Now, when placing the chucks pad, it has to be completely underneath the person's peri area and buttocks. So what I'm going to do is roll the chucks pad away from me. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to go ahead and line it up to make sure it is completely underneath her buttocks and peri area. Now there are two methods you can use to get this chucks pad up underneath the person. You can either manually raise the mannequin's hips and pull it through, or you can turn the mannequin onto her side and then, you know, push it through, turn her back over the other way and pull it on through, okay? The most time management way is just to raise the resident's hips, okay? So what you'll need to do is place your hand up underneath both thighs, okay? So your arm is touching the person's buttocks just like this, and I have my arm underneath both. I'm going to tell Mrs. Jones, on the count of 3, I'm going to raise your hips. 1, 2, 3. We raise the hips, right? And I just roll this linen protector on through like so. And then I place her hips back down, pull the linen protector through, right? Make sure I recover her so she's not overexposed. And then I'm just checking to make sure I have it completely underneath the buttocks, okay? If the NAE walks around to look, that's probably what they are checking. So you want to make sure you double check to ensure that the chucks or the linen protector is completely underneath the buttocks, okay? All right, so now I'm going to take my first washcloth. I'm going to wet it, squeeze it out really good because you don't want to have any water dripping. I'm going to open it up completely, apply soap to all areas of the washcloth, and then I'm just going to rub it together, and then I'm going to fold it into fours. When I fold it into fours, I'm going to hold it like so in my hand, tucking it up under so nothing will be hanging. And then I have it where I have the 4 open leaves, okay? Just like that, okay? 4 open leaves. You have to use a clean area of the washcloth for each wipe. So the first wipe, I'm going to go straight from the middle, okay, straight down the middle, working from front to back, just like so. Then I'm going to flip over to a clean leaf. I'm going to clean one side of the labia majora, again, working from front to back. Flip over to a clean leaf, clean the other side of the labia majora, working from front to back. Flip over to a clean leaf. Then I'm going to open the labia majora, clean straight down the middle, working from front to back to clean the labia minora, just like so, okay? This washcloth, I'm going to hang over my basin, and I'm going to put the basin in camera view so you can see, okay? Because you really don't want to place the soil cloth on the overbed table. So just fold it over the wash basin, okay? Now, the second washcloth, I'm going to wet it, but I'm not going to put soap on it. I'm going to squeeze it out really, really good. I'm going to keep it in fours, right? So you really don't have to unfold this one. Just make sure you hold it to where you have the 4 open leaves, okay? Just like so, all right? The same way I washed the genital area, I'm going to rinse, okay? So I'm going to rinse, working from front to back, straight down the middle, flip over to a clean leaf, clean one side of the labia majora, flip it over to a clean leaf, clean the other side of the labia majora, flip over to a clean leaf, open the labia majora, clean straight down the middle to rinse, down the middle to rinse the labia minora, okay? And then I'm going to fold this washcloth over the basin. So now I have 2 washcloths over the basin, okay? One of the most forgotten steps is the drying of the genital area. And you will want to pat or block dry, working from front to back. So I'm going to pat dry, pat dry, pat dry, okay? Now I use this area of the washcloth, so I'm just gonna fold it over, okay, like so. And so now I have the clean area of the towel now, okay? And I'm gonna place it back down on my overbed table. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn Mrs. Jones onto her left side so I can clean the buttocks and anal area. Mrs. Jones, I'm going to go ahead and turn you towards the side rail. If you're able to hold on to the side rail, you can do so, okay? All right, Mrs. Jones. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and flex the resident's knee, okay, or leg, and I'm going to make sure that it is flexed high. I'm going to place one hand on her lower leg, or not lower leg, but lower thigh. And then the other hand, I'm going to place behind her shoulder blade. And then I'm going to give her a cue on the count of 3, and I'm going to turn her, okay? All right, Mrs. Jones, on the count of 3, I'll turn you. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Awesome. And then if you can hold on, voila. Okay, so now I can use both hands, okay? What I'm gonna do, because you see now she's overexposed, all you have to do is recover her, okay? So she will not be overexposed. There we go. All right, and you'll be good to go. If you do not recover her, you will not get credit for that step, okay? So now I'm gonna take my third washcloth. I'm going to wet it, squeeze it out really, really good. Open it up completely. Apply soap to all areas of the washcloth. Then I'm going to rub the washcloth together. I'm going to fold it into fours. And again, I'm going to hold it to where I have the 4 open leaves on top. Okay? I'm going to work from front to back. So you're going to be wiping from the perineum up towards the back, okay? So with the first leaf, I'm going to wash straight up the middle to clean the anal area. Then I'm going to flip over to a clean leaf. I'm going to clean one buttocks, flip over to a clean leaf, clean the other buttocks, flip over to a clean leaf, and again, clean straight up the middle to clean the anal area. I'm going to place this washcloth on the side of my basin. I'm going to take my fourth washcloth, wet it, squeeze it out really, really good. There we go. I'm just going to keep it in fours, and I'm not going to put soap on it because this is the washcloth I'm going to use to rinse. Again, I'm holding it. I have the bottom tucked in. All 4 leaves are on the top, okay? In the same manner that I washed the buttocks and anal area, I'm now going to rinse. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse straight up the middle, flip over to a clean leaf, rinse one buttock, flip over to a clean leaf, rinse the other buttocks, flip over to a clean leaf, and then straight up the middle again, or rinse, I'm sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to place that washcloth over my basin. Now remember, I flipped my towel so both areas, both sides are clean, okay? So I'm going to now I'm going to dry the buttocks and anal area working from front to back, okay? And again, I'm going to use the blotting method. So dry, pick up, dry, pick up, dry, and you're good, okay? Okay, I'm going to place that towel on my basin. And another common forgotten step is the removal of the linen protector. So while I still have Mrs. Jones turned on her side, I'm going to go ahead and roll the linen protector away from me. I'm going to push it up underneath Mrs. Jones as much as I can. And then I'm going to tell Mrs. Jones, I'm going to give her a cue. Mrs. Jones, on the count of 3, I'm going to turn you back over onto your back. Okay? And then I'll give the cue. 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn her back over. Awesome. I'm going to straighten out her leg. I'm going to go ahead and finish rolling up this linen protector. Going to get her gown straight, cover her back up, and then I'm going to dispose of this linen protector into the trash can. I'm going to turn the camera around so y'all can see. Okay, dispose of it into the trash can. I'm going to dispose of my soiled linen into the soiled linen hamper. You want to make sure that you carry it at arm's length away from you, because you do not want the soiled linen or clean linen coming in contact with your clothing. I'm going to dispose of that. Okay. Then I'm going to empty my basin into the sink and rinse my basin. And I'm going to pour the rinse into the sink as well. Then I'm going to dry my basin. And then you will place your basin and the soap in the designated dirty area. So I'm emptying my basin. I'm rinsing my basin. I'm now emptying the rinse into the sink. And no, you do not have to empty the basin of water into the toilet, nor the rinse into the toilet. That's only with bedpan and urinary output, okay? Now I'm going to dry my basin. And make sure you dry it good, because some NAEs do go and look to see if it's dry, okay? And then I'm just going to place my towel into the trash can here. And then wherever your designated dirty area is, that is where you will place your basin and soap, okay? I'm just going to place mine back into the bedside stand. That's where I got it from. Okay. I'm going to remove my gloves without contaminating myself. The easiest way to do that is to make a C, so you can have some extra material here. Pull on that material, pull it off, ball it up. Take 1, 2, 3 fingers, it don't matter how many, underneath. Pull it over, and then you're going to immediately dispose of these gloves into the trash can. Immediately verbalize washing hands, and now you can get back to your resident and do your closing procedures, okay? All right, Mrs. Jones, I am back. I'm just gonna place your overbed table back where I got it from. I'm gonna make sure that you are covered up here. There we go. You still have your call light in your hand. As y'all see, I never removed her call light, right? When I gave it to her at the very beginning, when I did the opening procedures, I never removed it, okay? I never took it away from her. There was no need for me to, because I was not manipulating that hand, okay? So it's a good idea that, you know, you perform a lot of the indirect care behaviors or skills during your opening procedure. That way, if you forget, right, to do it at the end or to verbalize it at the end, the nurse aid evaluator or NAE will see that the person has the call light in their hand or, you know, next to their hand, and you will receive credit for that step, okay? All right, Mrs. Jones, I'm going to go ahead and lower your bed back down to a low safe position. Bed wheels are still locked. There we go. All right, low safe position. Now again, Pearson VUE and Prometric does not emphasize or evaluate you, nor do they score you on the lowering of the side rail. So if you want to keep it up, you can keep it up. If you want to lower it, you know, take the time out to do that, then you can. I'm going to go ahead and lower it, okay? Mrs. Jones, I'm just going to lower your side rail. There we go. All right, Mrs. Jones, I'm all done. Is there anything else I can do for you? All right, Mrs. Jones, would you like for me to keep your privacy curtain, or would you like for me to open it up? Keep it, oh, okay, I will maintain privacy. All right, okay. So once you've done that, okay, you've done your closing procedures. Again, it's always good just to maintain the privacy with, you know, Credentia and Pearson VUE, just in case, you know, you forget to do so for your next skill. It's already maintained, right? So you'll get credit for that step, okay? But no matter what authorized administrator is administering your test, you'll always want to follow their instructions that they give you just before you test, okay? So at this time, I'm going to verbalize washing hands, and then I'm going to just wait a few seconds to review everything that I did because once I say skill complete, I cannot make a self-correction. So I want to make sure that, I performed all the steps correctly. I did not omit any steps, and I performed all the steps that were required, right? Once I feel comfortable and confident with my performance, then I will verbalize skill complete. All right, I hope y'all enjoyed this updated perineal care training video. Remember, guys, this is a training video. So it's not how you're going to perform a nursing task in real life. Okay, these are the required steps for Pearson VUE and Credentia Nurse Aid Certification Skills Testing, okay? I hope y'all enjoyed it. Ciao.